right, I'm back, and it's time for another guitar lesson. This one is actually going to be called Across the Neck lesson. This is basically a way to match your fretting hand with your plucking or picking hand. And it doesn't matter which one that is, if you pick with your right or you pick with your left and you do opposite with the other hand, it doesn't matter. This is just a way to line these up, because the most important hand when you're playing is going to be the one that is fretting the different strings. Because this is where you're learning a piece of music and you're trying to figure out, how do I play this and what fingers do I play it on and how do I do that? And the hand that you're picking on, while that might have some complicated rhythms to it, is going to be second to the more important task of where do I put my fingers in order to play the right notes. So in order to get used to that, you need to get used to the 6 strings that the guitar has and how to jump between them. In order to do that, I have this little exercise that is pretty easy, except for the fact that you need to trust yourself in looking at only one of your hands, the hand that's going to be on the frets. So we know again what frets are. Frets are these little sort of areas between these 2 pieces of metal where you put your fingers and you squeeze the guitar like that with your thumb on the back of the neck, right? So here's what the exercise looks like. I'm going to start off, I could do any fret I want. Keep in mind that the frets closest to the head of the guitar are going to be smaller, and the frets closest to where the body of the guitar is are going to be shorter, because it keeps getting shorter as they move up. So it'll be easier to move your fingers around up here, but it's also a good stretch to kind of get used to them here, because you're probably going to be playing most of the time in this area. I'm going to start with my index finger, and I'm going to choose a fret that's going to be pretty easy for me to get my hands around it, which is the 3rd fret. So 1, 2, 3. And all I'm doing is I'm going to squeeze on the lowest string, my low E string, get that fret all set. I'm going to take my pick and I'm going over to the low E right here. I'm going to pick the string. And now I'm going to take this, go to the same fret on the next string, which is the A string, and do the same thing. And then the next string, D string, and then G string, B string, and then high E string. Now notice I didn't look down. Maybe you can't see me. I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at what I'm doing. Now it's going to take you a little while to get used to that. But if you have to look at something, look at what your hand's doing on the frets. So as an example, I'm going to use my middle finger next. I'm just going to go to the 4th fret. I still have my thumb in the back, so I can squeeze. I'm looking at this hand. I'm not looking at this. And I'm trying to make sure I play whatever this hand, whatever this finger is on for string, I'm playing that string with this. It takes a little while to get used to this, but this is one of those things that you build up so you can switch between strings. And you don't have to worry and stop so much because this hand is not finding the right string. Last one I'm going to take is my ring finger, like one of the most common fingers used in guitar. And same thing, my thumb's in the back here. Now, it doesn't matter if I pick down or up on a specific string. If you're playing really fast, eventually you're going to learn how to do something called alternate picking, which means you alternate between down and up. So try this out, this exercise out. Definitely, it's one of these things where you can start anywhere. I could start on the highest string. I could start right here in the middle. But when I'm moving, notice when I'm moving my left hand, I'm moving my right hand along with it. So I've been playing guitar for such a long time There's 6 strings here. And if I put my finger down on my fretting hand on a fret somewhere, I can put my right hand down. And most of the time, I'm not saying every single time, but most of the time, I'll go to pick and I'll be right on the right string. And that's what you want to get. You want to get it so that you do it as often as you do it, you want, for the most part, to line up with the strings. Because we're going to start playing music where we actually have to use multiple strings. So try this exercise out. Replay this video if you need to. That's the best thing about these recording these videos. You keep watching them as many times as you want to. And I will see you again for another lesson.